All right, and I'm back. All right, so it's been a couple months later. Actually, I've been a little bit busy, but I'm gonna roll these up for now. But I did get my MagnaFlow system shipped back, and that's all squared away now. And I did get shipped out a brand new Borla system, which had really super easy to install. It was actually awesome to install. Super easy. Everything had more than enough clearance everywhere. I knew there was going to be a sound difference between the two, but it is pretty much the opposite of what the MagnaFlow is. So it's taking a little bit of getting used to. I like it a little bit more. Whereas I like the Borla. It's got a completely different sound than the MagnaFlow. It seems like they're two different exhaust systems set up for two different kinds of people. The MagnaFlow was really nice because when you're driving around normal speed, everyday life, you know, when you're not nailing the throttle every chance you get, when you're just driving a daily driver, I could see how the MagnaFlow is great for a lot of people because it's when you drive it normally, like a sane person most of the time, it's completely quiet. You can't even tell. But the MagnaFlow system is more geared around when you do absolutely floor it and mash it, it gives you the super rich, nice tone. Whereas the Borla system, it's loud. It's meant for when you drive it normally every day, it's meant to sound a little bit louder so that when you drive it normally, you can get that sound. And when you absolutely floor the crap out of it, it's loud. It's different sound. As you can see, I could see how this system would sound pretty great on a stock car or a stock downpipe, I should say. But you know, I have a Catless Buschur racing downpipe, and it sounds pretty nuts when you get on it with that. It sounds basically like it's straight piped. I mean, the MagnaFlow is nice because it has two resonators, so when you absolutely floor it, even when I had my Catless downpipe, it barely made any difference to the sound at all, where if you floor it, you just get a deep grumble and it's just a deep low tone. But this, when you floor it, there's no resonator. It's just a pipe right off the Cat all the way, just straight piped pretty much to the back muffler, which I don't think is even really, there's much back there, because when you get into it with a Catless downpipe like this, it is really, really loud. I'll go windows down here for a sec. One thing I do love about this system, though, that I kind of missed from the MagnaFlow. I like the MagnaFlow because it's nice and quiet, and then when you get into it, it just sounds really nice. Whereas it sounds like a performance car even when you're driving it normally, which is kind of nice. One thing that I really like about it, though, over the MagnaFlow is that since it's straight piped right off of the Cat all the way back, when it backfires and when you're deaccelerating in gear and stuff, you get the little pops and gurgles, which I loved on my SRT4. I love that, and it's nice to get a little bit of that back. It's not nearly as much as that was, but it's nice to get a little bit of that back, and in that tone, I love the sound of it. I actually kind of like it because when you're driving it normal all the time, it sounds really nice. I mean, it's only when you floor it and get onto it and you're moving, that's when it sounds nuts, and it sounds super loud and straight piped, which is kind of nice because when I'm cruising around, I kind of want it to be a little bit loud and be able to hear the backfires and hear the turbo a little bit better. And it's just more of a raw system compared to the MagnaFlow. So, and in terms of just cruising now at 60, it's basically the same. I mean, most exhaust systems with the Focus STs, they barely have any drone, and none of them have basically any drone anyway. But I mean, I'm doing 60 right now, and the only difference is the MagnaFlow is pretty much quiet when you're cruising, basically not even there unless you get on it. In this system, you hear it just a little bit of a higher pitch hum, but it's really nothing at all. It's just a tiny bit, but it's not droning or anything like that. It's actually really quiet. So I was worried about, when I had heard other people's on their car, I was worried about it because it sounds really loud in person and stuff, but I was really worried about the highway sound and stuff on how it was supposed to be. But when you're cruising right now, it's perfectly fine, even when you get into it. I mean, and when you get into the gas in higher gear, it actually drones, less. The MagnaFlow, when you got into it hard, when you were in gear, there'd be a lot of low vibration and rumbliness, which I kind of liked, but this is even actually less. So in that term, it's a little bit quieter when you're cruising and you punch it. But I mean, when you floor it, it gets pretty damn loud. But not too bad at all. I don't mind it at all. But other than that, I mean, I have the same mods I had before. I have the Buschur Catless downpipe. I got the Borla cat back now. I have a green high performance air filter. I got the Boomba short throw shifter that I put in a little while ago. It's not fun to do. It sucks ass, but a lot better shifts now. It's way better to shift. I got that, and then I got the Boomba blow-off valve, which you can probably hear. I mean, I'm not too sure about that yet. I like it. Love the sound. It sounds nice. It's loud. When you're cruising and you get into it a little bit and go past people, they get a little bit scared. But one thing I really don't like about it is just how easy it blows off. It's insane. You can be, partially it's probably due to, the small turbo and how fast it can spin up. It's right on cue when you hit the gas. But even when you're cruising, you give it a little bit of gas, even though there's a little boost there, and you just back your foot off the gas in a minuscule, a tiny inch, just a little bit off, even slow, it'll always be blowing off, which kind of is annoying. But yeah, it's all. I've gotten kind of used to it. It hasn't bugged me to the point where I want to sell it yet, but that part kind of sucks. But it does sound really nice when you're shifting and stuff. It's just a little bit too trigger happy, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I had the blow off valve, and then I installed some. I don't know why I decided, but I figured I'd give it a try. Some 2 steps colder spark plugs that come with the Ford Racing kit. I figured I would see if that would help with my ignition and stuff like that, and the timing and pulling timing and gas and stuff like that. So I got those, and then I'm looking pretty soon to be doing a tune with Freak Tune on E30, which should gain me 20-30 extra horsepower maybe if I'm lucky, which would be really nice to get this thing tuned on E30 and really get a little bit more horsepower out of it. And probably not too much more torque, but more horsepower, which would be nice. But other than that, nothing else. This changes is basically just a different exhaust video comparing, same car, comparing a MagnaFlow to a Borla. Pretty much the opposite kind of exhaust system you can have. And a lot of the exhaust systems on this car are basically the same. they all pretty much sound the same. You can go 3 inches, it's just a little bit louder. They all sound pretty much the same, but in terms of tone, I think that's the biggest difference you can get is the MagnaFlow system with 2 resonators, and it's kind of hush-hush, and then this system with no resonators and basically one I'm assuming pretty hollow muffler out back that's pretty damn loud. So it was nice to be able to try out both, but I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty happy with the Borla now. So, and it's not too bad, especially when you're just cruising around with a Catless downpipe even. I was kind of worried about that, but even when you're cruising around, it's not too loud at all, as you can probably hear. I mean, I'm in 6th doing 50 behind a really slow person right now, and can barely tell at all, so not too bad. So coming up, I'm looking forward to doing some E30 tuning, and I want to get into a rear or a motor mount, just because there's a lot of movement going on and I don't like it. So it'd be nice to get a motor mount.